Let's go back to the United States, though, now. And US President Joe Biden has again been talking about Supreme Court reform, offering more details of what would be a radical plan.
I'm calling for a constitutional amendment called No One is Above the Law Amendment. And I mean this sincerely. It holds that there's no immunity for crimes former president committed while in office. I share our founders' belief that the president must answer to the law. The president is accountable in the exercise of the great power of the presidency. We're a nation of laws, not kings and dictators.
Yeah, kings and dictators seemed like a throwaway line last week, but Biden wants to make a serious issue of the Supreme Court, perhaps just so he can continue to label Donald Trump a criminal. It's a bit of a worry, and I asked Kristen Tate whether it's a wise move.
Well, again, this is the party that was so concerned about defending norms, once again trying to tear down norms in this country. But look, why wouldn't Biden do this? He's throwing bones to the radical left, while Kamala is out there presenting herself as more of a moderate Democrat. It's clear that the Democrats only want Republicans to be held to account. Even when they don't break the law, they want the Republicans thrown in jail. It's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, and Biden himself was found to have classified documents, and the only reason he wasn't prosecuted was because the prosecutor thought, oh, he's just a sort of a silly old man who didn't really know what he was doing. Man happens still to be president. Have a look at this. When he was talking about the Supreme Court issue, the same old Joe Biden was back. He didn't seem to know whether he was talking about himself as a president or a former president. He got very lost. Have a look.
And no president, no former president, not me, not one should have been given any exception to this.
Oh, God, it's terrible, Christian. You have to remind yourself he is still the leader of the free world. He was reminding himself. You can see his brain ticking over. Hang on a second. Am I a former president? No, I'm still the president. It's just excruciating to watch. Meanwhile, as you intimate, Kamala Harris is getting sort of a honeymoon treatment from the media in the US.
Yes, that's exactly right. We're seeing the honeymoon effect with Kamala Harris right now. The polls have really tightened between Trump and Kamala. We're kind of back to where we were before the debate, where it was sort of Biden and Trump neck and neck. Now it's Kamala and Trump neck and neck. And it's so infuriating what the press has done, Chris. They have taken Kamala Harris, who just a few months ago everyone admitted was a political dud. She couldn't even get above single digits in the 2020 primary, couldn't excite black voters or women voters or really any constituency. And they have tried to turn her into MLK and Gandhi in a dress. It's absurd, and people are buying it. I have a lot of Democrats in my family. A few weeks ago, they were texting me, telling me, oh, I hope it's not Kamala who replaces Joe Biden. Of course, they wanted Biden gone, but they did not want her. Give the media a few weeks. Now, all of those people in my family and my friends who are Democrats are totally on board and excited about Kamala. The media is a very powerful tool in this country. We love to joke about it because it is a joke. It's so flagrantly left-wing. But the media apparatus is still very strong when it comes to Democrat voters, and they have fully convinced those voters that Kamala is a fully competent grassroots candidate who's going to be their savior and kick Donald Trump out for a second time.
Don't worry about it. The same leftist media is at it here in Australia. The taxpayer-funded leftist media now is branding critics of Kamala Harris, suggesting that they're racist or sexist or whatever, no matter the fact that we've pointed out her failures for many, many years. Let's go to the other side. I think it's obvious she's going to get this sort of lift. The big question is whether it lasts 4 months to the election or whether people wake up before then. We shall see. We'll check in on that with you every week, if not more often. But I want to get to the other vice presidential running candidate, that is Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, and he's still paying a high price for these comments 3 years ago.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too.
Now, Kristen, we all know the point he's trying to make. I think using the term childless cat ladies is pretty, it's pretty provocative, and I don't think it'll do him a lot of good with female voters, especially if they don't have children. But he doesn't seem to be keen to back down or apologise for these remarks.
He shouldn't apologize because his point is valid, which is that if you don't have children, you don't necessarily have as much invested in the future of the country as those who do have children. And that's not to say that politicians who don't have children don't care about the future of the country, but just that you perhaps are more invested in the future if you do. This is all a misdirect, though. This is an attempt by the media to get the attention of voters onto J.D. Vance and off of Kamala Harris and off of Donald Trump. The media needs you to believe that Kamala Harris is who she is projecting herself to be right now, which is this fierce woman who is going to be a moderate and bring Americans together, and not the truth, which is that she was the most radical senator in this country in 2019, even more radical than Bernie Sanders, the most liberal, and that she's opened the border up under Joe Biden's administration to 7 to 10 million illegal immigrants. And by the way, Chris, I also want to point out it's laughable for the left to try to call Republicans anti-women when the Democrats are the ones trying to force men into women's locker rooms with little girls, put men into women's prisons. They won't even tell you what the difference is between a man and a woman. It's disgusting and laughable that they would try to push this narrative onto Republicans, given the ideology that they've been promoting for years now.
Yeah, perhaps if women can have women's sporting events to themselves, not allowing transgender women or biological men to compete against them, that would be a good starting point when it comes to protecting the rights of women. You're spot on there again, as ever, Kristen. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Chris.